My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Welcome to the White Lotus in Thailand Cut.
It's a wellness center.
You should get a facial. The lady in the airport thought you were my dad.
Oh my God.
The Emmy Award-winning HBO original series returns.
There has been more crime on the island. I'm a little freaked out.
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means we're not dead yet.
Amen.
Amen.
A new season of the HBO original series The White Lotus premieres February 16th at 9 p.m. on Max.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to the Gundam Lorecast, where we take a deep dive into the Mobile Suit Gundam series, such as the multiple timelines, mobile suits, characters, and so much more. Welcome back, pilots, to another episode of the Gundam Lorecast. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon, or also known as Ben of Temeria, and always with me is my good friend and fellow co-host, Jesse.
How we doing, everybody?
And today we are bringing you another protagonist mobile suit, and we are diving into the Season 1 mobile suit, because this anime has 2 seasons compared to others. Which we are diving into the Gundam Exia, which is from Gundam 00. So, the GN001 Gundam Exia, aka the Exia or Gundam 7 Swords, is a mobile suit introduced in Season 1 of Mobile Suit Gundam 00 and is piloted by Setsuna F. Sei. Try to say his name 5 times fast.
Protagonist,
exactly. So going with the technology and combat characteristics, and oh boy, is there a lot, because this anime literally dives in to how these Gundams work, which is insane.
Yeah, they go really deep considering it's like a 50 episode anime.
Right? They go really deep. We don't talk about the movie. That does not exist.
We said episode. We didn't say
we said episode. The movies don't exist. But yeah, no, they go really into the science of mobile suits in this anime, which I honestly really liked. So, specializing in close combat and armed melee with melee weapons, the Gundam Exia is one of the 4 Gundams deployed in AD 2307 by the paramilitary organization Celestial Being to eliminate world conflicts through armed interventions. To fight against the world with their small numbers and win, these Gundams have overwhelming power and equipped with advanced technology a century ahead of its time. Notably, the perpetual GN drive mounted in the center of the Gundams provided almost limitless energy and generates special multifunctional GN particles. Yeah, and this is also, and which we said back in Season 1, this is the only anime set in our own timeline.
Yes.
So, which is pretty cool. So you're telling me here in the next 300 years we could have Gundams and mobile suits?
I was born
I wouldn't be surprised, knowing Japan and their love for mechs. I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of 100 years that we have actual Gundams.
I was born 300 years too early.
Right? I was like, damn it. It's like, we could be in cool stuff. So the GN particles grant outstanding mobility, including independent flight capabilities, and also utilize for beam weaponry, altitude control, and stealth purposes, as the discharged particles can cause electromagnetic interference, leaving conventional communications and radar devices useless. The Gundams also share common aspects with conventional mobile suits, such as the use of E-carbon for its armor material. However, the Gundam's E-carbon has higher defensive power due to the use of advanced materials. Because they're better. An example of Exia's overwhelming power is that the output was estimated to be about 6 times that of the SVMS-01 Union flag, one of the newest conventional mobile suits at the time. The technical hurdles that had to be overcome to create the powerful Gundams and their GN drives were high, making their production extremely difficult and caused the Gundam's development to occur in phases. The first generation machine, the GN 0000O Gundam, established the basic systems of a mobile suit powered by a GN drive and armed with a beam gun and beam saber. Now, in episode 1 of 00 Gundam, we see the Exia go against a flag union, or union flag, literally the get-go of the series. It wipes the floor with it in like seconds. And the pilot of the Union flag had no idea what the heck was going on.
Like, I get it's a mobile suit still, but it, comparatively to pretty much every Gundam from every series, looks frail.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's so skinny.
Mm-hmm.
And then Setsun is like...
destroyed.
About that.
So subsequently, 4 second-generation machines were developed with individual capabilities required for armed interventions, and their data served as a basis for the third-generation machines, which included Exia and the other 3 Gundams deployed in the armed interventions. Specifically, Exia was designed from the GNY-001 Gundam Estrella, a general-purpose mobile suit with human-like mobility and used for testing various weapons, and the 2 machines have a number of similarities in terms of appearance. Which I'm trying to think, the Gundam Estrella...
It does look similar, but it's from one of the side stories.
Ah, that makes sense.
But it does look similar, just not quite the same.
Yeah, it's like the Exia is more sleeker designed compared to the Estrella. Yeah. The Estrella is a little bit more bulky from what I'm looking at right here.
It's a little more bulky, a little less colorful.
OOP Side Story, which is a novel. Go figure.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Only in Japan. So, also go figure. So the Estrella's mobility aspect is particularly appropriated for the Exia, which requires the same range of articulations as the human body due to its close combat specializations. Thus, while the Exia is armed mainly with melee weapons, its basic performance remains that of a general-purpose mobile suit. In fact, the Exia is the only Gundam deployed for the armed interventions that has a body structure capable of range of articulations like the human bodies, and the omission of such of a structure in the other 3 Gundams is simply because they do not require it for their specializations is in other areas. Which we have, I'm trying to think the...
Here, why can't I think of the 4th one is the one I can't think of. There's Cheridem, there's Kyrios, and there's the purple one.
The purple one.
I can picture it.
Oh my gosh. The purple one. Wait, what? I'm looking it up here. I should have had this already, but third generation Gundams. We have... Oh, that's second. We have Exia, Dynamis, Kyrios, and Virtue. Virtue
is the one I was thinking.
Dynamis is what is the sniper. Eventually becomes the Cheridem.
Yeah.
In the 4th generation.
Yes.
I think. Right? Is that right?
I believe that is the order. Yeah.
The third, or 3.5. Sorry, 3.5. Yeah.
But there really isn't another. The only true 4th generation one is
the 00. And then everything after that, and the 5th series is also 00. And there's some others. But anyway. To achieve this wide range of articulations, Exia is the most complex basic frame of the 4 Gundams. Its armor is also more minimally segmentalized as well. The armor design, however, causes some internal structures as the joints and to be unprotected during certain poses, lowering Exia's defensive capability. And on the other hand, this design does provide better mobility, giving Exia the best projectile evasion capability among the 4 Gundams. So, and for everybody to know, the Virtue is a giant, it's essentially just a bombardment specialization. It's specialized in bombardments. The Dynamis is specialized in sniping, and the Kyrios is specialized in transformation / hit and run tactics.
Which, to be fair, I would feel like I know in my head that it's not easier to dodge things with it, but I feel like when you turn it into a fighter, it should be easier to dodge projectiles.
With the Kyrios, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Exia also has the finer aptitude control capabilities than the other Gundams, which is beneficial for close combat unless this is related to its GN cables. The GN cables, also known as the GN power lines, are the light purple colored cables running through the various parts of the Exia's body, and also has one of its eyes catching visual features. While these cables are also found on the other Gundams, the ones extending from the shoulders to the upper arms are unique to Exia. The cables facilitate the supply of tremendous amount of GN particles and thus energy to each part of the Gundams instantaneously. So it's constantly getting power throughout its entire body pretty easily. They're also used for aptitude control during the GN particles mass reduction effort, and so the Exia, which has more cables on its exterior than the other Gundams, is able to achieve finer control. In terms of defense, however, such as placements are dangerous, and later on in the GN 001 RE2, the Gundam Exia Repair 2, the cables become mostly stowed in the armor. So they stowed it within the armor itself, so it doesn't show.
Yeah, they learn maybe we shouldn't leave these cables out here to be attacked.
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of a big weakness.
Yeah.
Oopsies. The GM particles mass reduction effort also lightened the Gundam and can be used to alter mass ratio to various body parts. Due to this latter ability, it is possible to freely control the machine's inertia and turning capabilities in the air, and that for active mass balance auto control when in space. This also eliminates the need for the legs to walk when moving. As for the control of GM particles, is largely carried out by the 2 clavets antennas on the Gundam's torso. A minor role is played by the 3rd generation Gundam's head antenna, which is experimentally equipped with particle control functions.
Yeah.
Ooh. See, you're getting all the science facts today. The head antenna also has communications and radar search functions, as well as a black box for quantum communication linkage with Verta, the Celestial Being's quantum computing system. The rest of the Gundam's humanoid head unit also contains systems responsible for controlling the entire body, much like a human head. On the side note, the Exia head is designed to look like the helmet of a pilot suit worn by the Gundam Meisters in AD 2307 to 2308 to express the belief of Meister equals Gundam.
Just like Setsuna says, I am Gundam.
I am Gundam, yep. Yeah, he might be a little weird in the head for that, but you know.
Setsuna is the more modern day hero Yui.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely is. He takes his orders, does the orders, and then when orders don't really work out well, he gets all confused and confuddled. And then starts second guessing his life. Mm-hmm. So there you go. While the GN drive can produce GN particles endlessly, even when the Gundams are inactive, there's a limit to the amount that they could be instantaneously produced. Thus, continuous or heavy usage of beam weapons and other GN particles consuming systems might cause the Gundams to run out of particles. To avoid this, the Gundams have GN condensers in various body parts to store excess GN particles. For maintenance purposes, the condensers can display the particles' compression rate and the amount stored. That was nifty to have.
Yeah.
So
to know what you have available.
Yep. So during mission, this display function is used for transmitting coded messages to allied units. On the matter of GN drives, Celestial Being only created 5 units as that was deemed the minimum needed for armed interventions. The low numbers is not only due to difficulties in manufacturing the GN drive, which requires Jupiter's high gravity environment, but also because having more GN drives would increase the risk of them falling into the enemy hands. Yeah, even though it happens anyway. Spoiler alert. The Gundam Exia is nicknamed Gundam 7 Swords as its development code was 7 swords, and as indicated by its name, it is equipped with a total of 7 blades to meet the needs of a moment during combat. Of these 7, the GN Sword, GN Long Blade, the GN Short Blade are physical blades, while the rest are beam-based and consisted with 2 GN Beam Sabers and 2 GN Beam Daggers. The GN Sword serves as the primary weapon due to the low energy consumption, and the Exia has an advantage in prolonged combat, which mainly occurs while fighting ace pilots or when subject to traps such as the 3 major blocks joints military exercise. The 3 physical blades also serve as countermeasures against GN Field, a protective barrier made of GN particles. In other words, Exia is also intended to fight against Gundam/GN drive-equipped machines that's piloted by a betrayer or captured by the enemy to use against Celestial Being. Early on, the alternative configuration of the GN-005 Gundam Virtue also had an anti-barrier role, or anti-betrayer role, but its design was dropped, and this increased the responsibilities placed on Exia as its Gundam Meister. Let's be honest, it's Assassina. Okay, cool.
He was like, okay, cool, but maybe he wouldn't have gone so nuts if they quit putting responsibilities on him.
Yeah, they put way too much on him. Other armaments include the GN Shield for defense that provides protection of internal structures of joints that might be exposed during movements. The GN Shield is usually in a compact size to maintain Exia's range of articulations, but can expand to increase the defensive area when needed. Similarly, the GN Sword can fold its blade and has a rifle mode for range combat. The last of Exia's armament is another range weapon in the form of a pair of low-power GN Vulcans mounted in its forearms. Yeah. And then during battles, the Exia gloriously sliced through its opponents in close combat, leaving a powerful impression on those who witness it and contributing greatly to its instillment of fear of Gundams in the world. This was already articulated by Celestial Being, and it is because of this that the organization's tactical forecaster, Sumarari Lee
Noriega.
Thank you. Selected the Exia to intervene in the AU-09 AEU INAX presentation ceremony, which became the unveiling of the paramilitary organization. Sorry, it wasn't the Union flag at the episode 1, it's the ENACT. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
They looked very similar.
Yeah, they look pretty close to identical.
Yeah. Oh, did I not put... Oh, I didn't. I forgot to put a mid-break in here. Oopsies. We'll go on over that here in a second. So the Gundam Exia has an overboost mode that temporarily boosts its GN drive performance and thus increase the mobile suit's capabilities. During an emergency, the Exia can activate a special Trans-Am system that enhances its thrust and defensive capabilities, as well as increase its output to 3 times that of its normal specifications for a limited period of time. This system also causes the Gundam to glow red, but its double-edged sword as Exia's performance will drop dramatically once it ends. Yeah. Compared to, the super mode or NTD or any of the other special systems in Gundam, specifically Hyper, Super modes, and NTD, because those ones typically don't have a double-edged sword. It's roughly everything else does, like the Hades system, the Exam system, Trans-Am.
But yeah, there's something wrong with most of them.
Yeah. The only ones that don't have a double-edged sword is like Super Mode and Hyper Mode from G Gundam, and then NTD from Gundam Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
So, is what it is. The number of additional operational or optional equipment was also developed for Exia, such as the High Mobility Avalanche Unit and the GNR 001E GN Arms Type E support machine, which equipped with the Avalanche unit, the Exia becomes the GN001/HS-A01 Gundam Avalanche Exia, and can be sped past specialized high-speed mobile suits, which is normally cannot do despite having a remarkable mobility. When docked with a GN Arms Type E, the Exia becomes the GN001 plus GNR-001E GN Armor Type E, attaining better mobility, offensive, and defensive capabilities. Oh. That's a lot. Yeah, you have the GN Arms and then Avalanche, which Avalanche is pretty cool, not going to lie.
It is pretty cool.
So, but all right, with that being said, let's take a quick make break, thank our listeners, and we'll be right back.
It's a Gundam!
All right, welcome to the middle of the show. We're talking about everything with the podcast that has nothing to do with the lore of Gundam. Here, we want to thank all of our listeners. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. And if you too want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Gundam Lorecast, where you can get ad-free episodes or even join us once a month on the show itself. You can also leave us comments and reviews on Apple and Spotify. Leave 5-star review on Apple with some words or a nice Spotify comment. We'll read out loud next time on the show, which we do have one from Chris G. Great pod. Been a great listen on the way home from work. This was on our last week's episode of Wing Gundam. So thank you much, Chris. Thank you for listening to the show, and I'm glad that we were able to help you get home in a timely manner and listen to this awesome podcast. And then
or even if you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah, or get stuck in traffic and you have
maybe make traffic a little more bearable for you.
Right. And then we also have a Gundam request from a listener from our email. So, hey guys, been listening since you first started this podcast. I recently purchased the Unicorn Gundam Full Armory Psycho Frame and would love to hear more about it. Thanks for being awesome, Thor K. Thank you, Thor, for the email. And yeah, eventually, I mean, we'll definitely talk about the Unicorn at one point. That's for sure. Because, you know, the Unicorn's awesome. And the Unicorn is also in Gundam Battle Operations 2 now.
Yes, it is.
So, which is also cool.
And we're obviously blowing through a lot of protagonist suits here, so
eventually we'll hit the Unicorn.
We'll hit it very soon.
We'll definitely hit the Unicorn at some point.
So.
That's for sure. And then you can also find us on a few different Discord servers, the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, as well as my own Discord server, the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord, where you can find this show and all the other shows that I host, which are Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends, the Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Wizarding World Lorecast, and the Witcher Lorecast. So go check those out. Awesome stuff. Go listen to Robots Radio. Great. So many shows to go on there. And you can also find us live on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/BenofTemeria every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You know, when my OBS works with Twitch, you'll catch us live. It's still having issues. I don't know why. I keep trying to figure out issues. It's a technical difficulties.
Ongoing battle.
But hey, 95% of you listen to this audio format, so it's all good. Not going anywhere. And stay tuned for a special episode in April, so which is super exciting for everybody.
Yes,
exciting for us too, because
it'll be fun.
Yeah, I get to pick someone's brain on Gundam stuff. Who may or may not be in Gundam. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just to give you all a heads up. I will be announcing more of that at a later date and maybe getting some of your guys' opinions or asking what questions you would want to be asked. But anyway, just for that little teaser there, let's get back into more of Gundam Exia. All right, we're back. And I completely forgot to say this in the mid-break. The Mobile Suit Gundam GNX, GNQ, GQX, or whatever you want to call it.
GQX.
The GQX, is that what we are going with? GQX, yeah. Whatever you want to call it. Tickets for the beginning is up now, so you can order tickets to go see the beginning, which is the prologue for Gundam GQX. So
I do have one thing I forgot too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. One other thing. You may have seen this in our Discord if you didn't see it already. Finally, we are in full production on
Oh, yes, the live
the
action.
Gundam live action
How did I
movie.
forget that too? We're in full swing production with
we
the
are
Gundam
in full
live
production.
action.
We're going to get more news soon, I'm sure. And
I would imagine at Comic-Con.
Casting rumors are already coming out. It's going to be great.
I guarantee you we're going to see something at Comic-Con.
Yes. I'm excited.
More than likely. Because it is done. Sunrise, who is obviously the creators of Gundam and, proprietors of it, are teaming up with Legendary Pictures, who has done the Godzilla films, Pacific Rim, and none other than Ready Player One, where we see the RX-78.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
exciting.
oh, okay,
This
this studio knows how to. They can do a Gundam. They can do a Gundam in our Ready Player One. They can totally do a live action series, and they did Pacific Rim. That's all mechs in its own, with kaijus. So we know the studio is good. So as long as the story is good, I want an original story personally, so that way it doesn't contaminate anything with the current canon.
I would love a original story, but I feel like I've heard both that it's going to be an original story and that it's going to be a shot-for-shot remake of the original movie. So I don't know what to believe anymore.
I know. I prefer original over anything recreation because I don't want to see them recreate something in live action. I just 9 out of 10. It does not go well.
And it almost never does it justice.
No, never. But anyway, moving back with the Exia. We are now going to be talking about its armaments. So we do have the GN sword. So mounted on the right forearm, the GN sword is the Exia's main weapon and is the largest among the 7 swords. Its blade is longer than the Exia's arm and is coated in GN particles, granting it a high cutting capability. Although the GN sword has high destructive power, its large size makes it unusable in certain situations, such as narrow battlefields. Even if the GN particle coating function is switched off, the weapon can still be utilized as a normal sword. The GN sword can also function as a beam rifle by transforming into rifle mode, where the blade is folded to reveal the rifle's muzzle for firing highly destructive beams. The transformation mechanism is adopted to reduce as much possible the number of equipment carried by Exia, increasing its flexibility. The rifle mode is also the form of the GN sword, is in the weapon when it's not in use. Additionally, in this mode, the portion of the weapon consisting of the blade and the rifle body can slide closer to the shield-like part at the side, leaving Exia's right hand free to hold other weapons. It's cool. It's a big sword. It's awesome.
It's very cool.
And all the poses Setsuna uses with the sword is always cool anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. So we have the GN Beam Saber. So the close range combat that emits a beam saber made of GN particles from its hilt when drawn. A pair is stored on the back of Exia's shoulder armor and be identical to those by other 3rd generation Gundams. The GN Beam Saber has high power, and the lack of a blade when it is stored reduces hindrance during mission. However, its power can be reduced due to atmospheric conditions and beam scattering / diffusion measures. Additionally, it cannot replicate certain actions of physical swords, such as using the blade to press the enemy. Various nations are rushing to develop beam sabers as a view as next generation weapon for mobile suits, but Celestial Beam is the first to succeed. Because they're better.
Yeah. Even if they're considered terrorists.
Whatever. It's literally Gundam Wing all over again.
That's
The
exactly what it
Gundam
is.
00 is just a modern day version of Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
That's all it
Great.
is. That's literally what this is, because it's about, an organization trying to stop war from two different factions that's already on Earth or in space.
Yeah.
Oh, it's specifically 4 to 5 Gundams that mysteriously appear and are better than every other mobile suit that is known to man.
And they're pretty
Where have I
colors.
heard this before? The protagonist just does his mission and has complete mental breakdowns when a mission doesn't go to plan or is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Where have I heard this?
Maybe that's why I enjoy it so much.
Probably, honestly. If you like Gundam Wing, go watch Gundam 00. There's no movie. Don't no. The movie doesn't exist. Just letting you know. And
If someone
that's end
tells
of
you there's a
season
movie,
2.
tell them no, there's not.
Yeah, exactly. You heard it here on the Gundam Lorecast. There is no, the movie of Gundam 00 does not exist. If since no one can see me live, I'm waving my hand like a freaking Jedi. So moving on, we have the GN Beam Dagger. So stored on the Exia's rear waist, the pair of GN Beam Daggers have the same basic system as the GN Beam Sabers, but are adjusted to emit shorter beam blades that consume less energy and also make them harder to defuse. Thus, they are suitable for use as throwing weapons to pierce distant enemies. The Exia's Gundam Meister Setsuna often used them in this manner. The GN Beam Daggers and GN Beam Sabers are originally the same, but their characteristics are altered due to the function adjustments. Though readjustment from the cockpit by the Meister, their functions can be switched. Both the GN Beam Daggers and GN Beam Sabers can be used for underwater combat. That's nice.
Very.
Next, we have the GN Longblade and GN Shortblade. So, a pair of physical swords with different lengths, one long and one short. Their blades are enveloped in GN particles, enabling extraordinary cutting and piercing capabilities. Also known collectively as GN blades, they are easily cut through a 3-meter thick E-carbon plate thanks to the GN particles. The GN Shortblade can be also used as a throwing weapon like the GN Beam Daggers. Among the Exia 7 swords, these two blades took the longest time to develop and hence were unavailable during the beginning of the armed interventions. Their lengthy development process is because it took a long time to adjust them to fit their hidden purpose as weapons against GN drive-equipped machines piloted by a betrayer of celestial being or one that is captured and used against the organization. Thus, they are given the ability to penetrate and cut through GN field, ensuring the enemy's defeat. When not in use, the GN long blade is stored on a rotating mount on the left hip, and the GN short blade is stored on the same type of mount on the right hip. Oh, yeah, because we don't see this at the start of the anime. He only has the long sword and its rifle form as well, and then like the beam daggers and beam sabers. That's it. So now we have the GN Vulcan. So although the GN sword's rifle mode is powerful, it cannot react instantly due to the transformation mechanism. Therefore, a pair of small beam guns known as GN Vulcans are built into the forearms. Although they are low firepower, their beams are rapid fired and intermittently and are effective in restricting enemy movements, damaging conventional weapons without E-carbon armor, and etc. Yep.
I do like GN Vulcans. They're cool.
Vulcans are fun. And then now we have the GN Shield. So mounted on the left forearm is a shield specifically designed for Exia. The GN Shield is made of E-carbon that is deployed a GN field on its surface to achieve high defensive capabilities. As long as the GN field receives energy from Exia, it cannot be destroyed by conventional weapons. However, it is still overwhelmed by powerful GN particle-based beam weaponry. Since Exia and the other Gundams have body armor with similar defensive capability, a shield may seem unnecessary at first glance. However, though the movement of the left arm, the mounted GN shield can also be used to absorb the shock of an attack. To maintain Exia's range of articulations, the GN shield is usually kept as a compact size, but can but it can expand its size and defensive area when needed through the sliding of the shield's blue parts outward. However, the expanded state has lower physical defensive capabilities, resulting in the need to enhance the GN field, increasing the consumption of GN particles. Since the GN shield may be a hindrance when dual-wielding weapons in close combat, the Exia can also be launched without it. That was a lot. And then we have the Proto-GN Sword. So a prototype of the Exia's GN Sword is originally used by the GNY-001 Gundam Exia. The Exia rollout color is temporarily equipped with this weapon during a basic performance test when performance tests as its 3 physical swords are still in development. So, yeah. Awesome armaments. Just a lot of swords. Lots of swords. It's basically all it does.
It's Roranoa Zoro Gundam.
Yes. But more. Now moving on to the special equipments and features. So we have the overboost mode. So this is a safety device of Exia's GN drive that can be deactivated to achieve a temporary boost state. This draws out the GN drive's full power and known as overboost mode, but its use is usually discouraged. This mode is later used in the GN 001 RE2 Gundam Exia Repaired 2. Because once you get to Season 2 of 00, the Exia has a really cool look.
Mm-hmm.
Missing one arm with a cloak over its missing arm and everything with one eye out, but it's all red. It looks awesome, but it's damaged as hell.
Yeah.
Next, we have optical camouflage. So like the other third-generation Gundams, that Gundam Exia can deploy an external camouflage membrane over itself when stationary, blend into its environment, and making it look invisible. This allows the Gundam Meister to leave the Exia behind to carry out missions on foot, or if the Gundam is to remain unseen as it waits for the mission to commence. Which is awesome, mind you. That is amazing. I don't care what anybody says, having a Gundam with a built-in optical camouflage is awesome.
Oh, it's always cool.
Especially for Dynamis, since that one's the sniper.
Yeah.
And then we have the Transam system. So this is a special system hidden by Celestial Being's founder, Eloya Scheinberg.
I want to say Iolia.
Eloya Scheinberg. Within the black box of the original GN drives, and is meant to be activated when the organization's plan is distorted. During Transam, all the compressed high-density GN particles accumulated in the Gundam are fully released, enhancing its thrust and defensive capabilities, as well as allowing it to form the 3 times its normal output for a limited time. The entire Gundam also appears as red as the tremendous amount of GN particles surrounding the cover in the machine, as well as those within the GN cables and in the minute paths in the armor, which are usually invisible, begin to glow red. Furthermore, after images are generated when the Gundam is moving. However, this system is also a double-edged sword, as once it ends, the Gundam's performance will drop dramatically as most of the GN particles within its body have been used up. This negative effect will last until the stored GN particles within the Gundam return to normal level. Thus, usage of the system requires careful consideration. The system's existence is only revealed in AD 2308 following the appearance of a betrayer and its first used by Exia. Yep. And then last but not least, we have the Verta-linked operating system. So the Gundam's operating system is linked to Verta, allowing the quantum computer to provide support to the Gundams and the Meisters when Alejandro Corner gained possession of Verta to help with the Ribbon's Allmark. They used it to intervene in the Gundam systems, rendering them inoperable. Fortunately, the Ptolemaeus team had considered such a probability that had developed a standalone operating system beforehand. The switch to the standalone operating system restored the Gundams to operating state, but the loss of the support from Verta makes piloting the Gundams and completing missions much tougher for the Meisters. Yep. And then we do have
thinking.
Yes, you have to use your own brain. Yeah. And then we do have some variants. So we have the Gundam Avalanche Exia, the Gundam Exia Repair, which is the cool looking version that we see at the beginning of Season 2. Gundam Exia Devise, and Gundam Type Exia, which I believe that might be the prototype version. I don't know about that one. Devise and Gundam Type Exia, I believe, are from the side story stuff and novels. So, introduced in the stage play, Mobile Suit Gundam 00 Hakai ni Yoru Katkusai Re-Innovation. It is a replica of the Gundam Exia with a different color scheme and 4 eyes, and the stage play is piloted by Arth Esther, a member of the Innovators, which are the Innovators in Gundam 00 are their version of new types, essentially. They're genetically enhanced humans. So, yay. And last but not least, we do have some notes and trivia. So, Exia is likely derived from Exousia, the Korean Greek for authority. This can be referenced to the powers, alternately known as the authorities, which are the 6th and the 9th order of angels, with virtue being the 5th. Greek angels, apparently. The damages Exia sustained in the final battle of the first season could possibly be a tribute to the ARC-78-2 Gundam's last shooting, as they both lose their head and left arm in the battle against their rival.
Yeah.
Which, fair. During the conceptual development stage of the show, Gundam Exia was codenamed Pawn Gundam. The Pawn Gundam was a close-range machine that was very special abilities and does not possess the 7th sword, which was given to Knight Gundam or Dynamis concept initially. Later, the Pawn Gundam would get a power-up system. This idea evolved into the Transand system and became a standard feature in the finalized version. After receiving this power-up, the Pawn Gundam would take the role of the team leader from Knight Gundam. So essentially, they were using code names from SD Gundam.
Yep.
Pawn and Knight Gundam were from SD. Exia is one of the 4 mobile suits in the 2011's entry grade model kit lineup. And Exia's GN sword may have some similarities with the Kamen Rider G3/G3X's G30703 Destroyer from Kamen Rider Agito. So, which wouldn't make them adding Kamen Rider stuff into Gundam or anything like that perfectly makes sense, because Kamen Rider is in a lot of stuff. So much stuff. So, but yeah, that's the Exia. Exia is awesome. The 00's better. But, any final thoughts on the Exia? Besides, 00 being your favorite show.
I don't know that it's my favorite. It's
up
close.
there.
I don't know if it's my favorite. Wing might still be my favorite.
See, now you're going back and forth. You told me otherwise.
Yeah. It's hard to say. They're both so good. But no, I don't really have anything else specifically about Exia.
Well, y'all should go and play GB4 and use the Exia.
Yeah, do that.
Go do that. Because that's the only game the X is in. Or go watch Gundam 00. There you go. Watch that stuff.
Fantastic.
Great stuff. But yeah, that's all we have for this week's episode. Again, everybody, thank you for listening to the Gundam Lorecast. And pilots, stay safe out there. Thank you for listening to the Gundam Lorecast. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, the Ben and Friends podcasting Discord, where you can share how you got into the Gundam series, and you can even find us on Twitter at Gundam Lorecast, and even email us at gundamlorecast@outlook.com.